What if the first man remembered for sailing around the world never actually finished the journey? Magellan crossed oceans, faced rebellion, hunger, and death. But the greatest twist came before the voyage was complete. The world changed forever, and he never came home. How can a man be remembered for the first voyage around the world if he never finished it? That is the mystery at the heart of Ferdinand Magellan's story. He began one of the most important voyages in human history. He led ships across the Atlantic. He searched for a passage through South America. He entered an ocean Europeans barely understood. But before the circle was complete, Magellan dipped far from Spain, on an island in the Pacific. So why does his name survive? Because some journeys become larger than the person who begins them. Magellan's expedition changed the way people understood the earth. Before this voyage, many educated people in Europe already knew the world was round. But knowing something on a map is different from proving it with ships, bodies, hunger, fear, and human lives. This voyage showed that the oceans were connected. It showed that the planet was larger than many Europeans had imagined. And it opened a new era of global travel, trade, empire, and conflict. Welcome to English Mindwave. If you enjoy learning English through deep and meaningful stories from history, please subscribe to support the channel. It helps us keep creating more stories like this. Now, to understand why Magellan risked everything, we have to ask a simple question. What could make kings send ships into unknown oceans? The answer begins with something small enough to hold in the hand. Spices. Today, spices may seem ordinary. A pepper, cinnamon, cloves, and nutmeg can sit quietly in a kitchen. But in the early 1500s, spice were not ordinary flavors. They were wealth. They were status. They were power. A ship filled with spices from Asia could make investors rich. So why were spices so valuable? Because they came from far away, through long and dangerous trade routes. By the time they reached Europe, they had passed through many hands. Each step made them more expensive. Whoever controlled the route to the Spice Islands could control one of the richest trades in the world. But if spices were so valuable, why did Spain need Magellan? Because Portugal was already ahead. Portuguese sailors had sailed around Africa and into the Indian Ocean. They had built strong influence along the eastern sea routes to Asia. Spain wanted its own path to the wealth of the East, but it needed a different way. And so what could Spain do? It could look west. After Columbus crossed the Atlantic in 1492, Spain believed there might be a western route to Asia. But the world was more complicated than Columbus had understood. A vast continent stood between Europe and Asia, and Europeans were still trying to understand its shape. If Asia could not be reached directly across the Atlantic, then maybe there was a hidden passage through the Americas. That idea became Magellan's great hope. Magellan was Portuguese by birth. He had experience in the world of ocean travel, empire, and trade. He believed that ships could sail west, find a passage through the Americas, cross another ocean, and reach the Spice Islands from the other side of the world. But Portugal did not support his plan. So what did Magellan do? He turned to Spain, the rival of his homeland. That choice was bold and risky. A Portuguese sailor offering his service to the Spanish crown was not making a small decision. Spain and Portugal were competing for oceans, routes, lands, and wealth. But Spain saw value in Magellan's idea. If he was right, Spain could challenge Portugal's power in Asian trade. So this voyage was never only about curiosity. It was about maps, money, rivalry, and empire. Behind the romance of the open sea stood a harder truth. The world was being divided by those brave enough, desperate enough, or ambitious enough to sail into the unknown. But before Magellan could face the greatest ocean on Earth, he had to face a danger already waiting on his own ships. Was the sea his first enemy? No. His first enemy was distrust. In 1519, Magellan left Spain with Webb ships: Trinidad, San Antonio, Concepcion, Victoria, and Santiago. To people watching from the shore, they may have looked like brave instruments of destiny, but at sea, they were fragile, wooden bodies carrying men into a world without mercy. Every wave could become danger. Every delay could become hunger. Every wrong decision could become death. And from the beginning, the expedition carried tension. Why? Because Magellan was Portuguese, but many of the officers and sailors were Spanish. He was leading ships for Spain, but some men under his command did not fully trust him. They questioned his judgment. They questioned his loyalty. They questioned whether they should follow him into unknown waters. On land, distrust can be uncomfortable. At sea, distrust can become deadly. The fleet crossed the Atlantic and moved down the coast of South America. They were searching for a passage that might not exist. Every bay, every river mouth, every opening in the coastline offered hope for a moment, then disappointment. The farther south they sailed, the colder the world became. The sea grew darker. Food became more precious. Patience became thinner. So what happens when fear becomes stronger than obedience? Mutiny. Some captains turned against Magellan. They believed he had gone too far. To them, he was not a visionary. He was a dangerous man leading them toward disaster. Magellan answered with force. He crushed the rebellion and punished the leaders. This moment shows why his story is not simple. Magellan was brave and determined, but he was also harsh. He had the will to continue, but he demanded obedience at a terrible cost. The voyage survived, but it was wounded. Soon after, The Santiago was wrecked while exploring the coast. The fleet became smaller and weaker. Still, Magellan continued searching. And then, near the southern end of South America, the ships found what they had been looking for: a passage. It was narrow, cold, twisting, and dangerous. Dark water ran between harsh lands and unpredictable winds. The ships moved carefully through channels where one mistake could destroy them. This passage would later be called the Strait of Magellan. But did the passage lead to safety? No. During this difficult crossing, the San Antonio deserted and returned to Spain. Magellan now had fewer ships and fewer men. But the remaining ships pressed on. At last, they came out into a vast new ocean. Magellan named it the Pacific because it seemed peaceful. But that calm surface was hiding the deepest danger of the voyage. Why was a peaceful ocean so deadly? Because it was too large. After storms, cold, rebellion, and the narrow strait, the Pacific may have looked like mercy. But no one on those ships truly understood its size. They expected land sooner. They expected the ocean to end. Days passed, then weeks, then more weeks. The horizon stayed empty. This was a different kind of terror. There were no cliffs, no armies, no obvious enemy, just water, sky, and distance. And the ocean did not need to attack them. It only needed to remain empty. Food spoiled, fresh water turned foul. Hunger spread through the crew. Disease weakened the men. Some died before they ever saw land again. Old accounts describe sailors eating leather softened in seawater, sawdust, and anything that might keep them alive a little longer. Whether every detail was remembered perfectly or shaped by suffering, the meaning is clear. The Pacific crossing pushed them beyond ordinary human limits. It showed them that the earth was not only round, it was enormous. So when land finally appeared, did it save Magellan? No. Land brought the final turn in his story. The expedition reached Guam, and later the Philippines. But this was not an empty world waiting to be discovered. The islands had their own leaders, societies, alliances, rivalries, customs, and histories. The people there were not background characters in a European adventure. They were living inside their own world. Magellan formed ties with local rulers and became involved in local conflict. He may have believed that his weapons, armor, and authority would give him control over the outcome. But confidence can become blindness. In 1521, on the island of Mactan, Magellan joined a battle against warriors led by Lapu-Lapu. The conditions were difficult. The resistance was strong. Magellan's weapons and armor did not give him the control he expected. He was killed there, far from Spain, far from the beginning of the voyage, far from the ending he had imagined. The man who opened the route into the Pacific never completed the circle. And now the central question becomes even stronger. If Magellan died, who completed the first voyage around the world? The survivors. After Magellan's death, the story no longer belonged to one commander. It belonged to the exhausted men who remained. They were weakened, far from home, and surrounded by uncertainty. But the original purpose of the voyage still pulled them forward. They still needed to reach the Spice Islands. After more struggle, they finally reached the islands they had searched for and loaded their ships with spices. But by then, the great fleet that had left Spain was almost gone. 5 ships had begun the voyage. Only one would complete it. That ship was the Victoria. Under the command of Juan Sebastian Elcano, the Victoria sailed west across the Indian Ocean, around Africa, and back toward Europe. This was not an easy return. The men had to face hunger, danger, exhaustion, and the risk of capture in waters influenced by Portugal. Every mile home was another argument against death. In 1522, the Victoria returned to Spain. Only a small group of survivors came back. Magellan was not among them, but the circle had been closed. For the first time, a ship had traveled all the way around the world. The voyage proved that the oceans were connected. It changed maps. It changed trade. It changed empire. It changed human imagination. But was this a clean victory? No. It was a triumph built on loss, a journey of courage, ambition, suffering, and consequence. Magellan did not finish the voyage, but his expedition forced the world to become larger in the human mind. It showed that one journey could change history even when the person who began it was gone. And maybe that is why this story still matters. History is rarely as simple as victory or failure. Magellan's voyage reminds us that great dreams can carry a heavy price. Courage matters, but so does humility. Ambition can move the world forward, but it can also blind people to danger, complexity, and human cost. In our own lives, we may not cross unknown oceans, but we all face moments when the path ahead is uncertain. We begin something difficult. We meet fear, doubt, failure, or loss. And sometimes the original plan breaks. Sometimes the ending looks different from what we imagined. The lesson is not to chase success blindly. The lesson is to keep moving with purpose, to learn from hardship, and to respect the cost of every meaningful journey. So here is a simple question for you. What is one difficult journey in your life that taught you something important? Please share your answer in the comments so everyone can learn from each other's thoughts. And if you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to English Mindwave to support the channel and help us continue creating more meaningful stories like this.